Tim, when you look at some of those questions, what are they? What are some of the things that maybe concern you if you're a Phillies backer that you want to see improved upon in the second half of the season?
Well, certainly the bullpen is a major problem. They were thin coming into the year, and then Jose Alvarado, their best reliever, was suspended for PEDs. He'll come back in August, but then will be ineligible for the postseason. They were short with him. Without him, they're really short. Jordan Romano has not delivered the impact expected. So this is a team that probably needs multiple relievers. They have the possibility in the playoffs of shifting someone in the rotation to the bullpen. That could help, but it can't be the only move they make. This is a team that, if there's a major reliever move, Emmanuel Clase, Yohan Duran, Griffin Jacks, any of those guys, the Phillies need to be at the forefront of that conversation because they need an anchor in their bullpen.
I think for me, as somebody who is not in Philly and not a Philly fan, my biggest question for the Phillies is obviously the bullpen is certainly one that you see on paper, but in the postseason in the last few years, sometimes their offense just doesn't show up. And I don't know what it is because on paper, they should have a good offense. Do you think Phillies fans have any nerves about the offense showing up in the postseason this year?
Yes, very much they do. I think that the issue the last few years has been that this team has been too reliant on hitting home runs. So you see the amazing moments when Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper and whoever are hitting home runs, but they haven't been able to do it in the other games. It's kind of a different situation this year, though, because Kyle Schwarber's hit a ton of home runs, but the Phillies as a team are like 20th in home runs. So they either need to find another way to do it or they need to add another bat. And given the needs that they have in the bullpen and the fact that it's a pretty weak trade market overall, I think they're going to have a difficult time adding another huge bat to this lineup. But I certainly don't look at the lineup as currently constructed and feel like this is a finished product that you can win a World Series with.
We're talking with Tim Kelly, who is the managing editor for On Pattinson, also creates MLB content for Bleacher Report. When you look at this Phillies team and how they're currently constructed, who is the biggest threat to them in the division right now?
Well, it's got to be the Mets. I mean, I'm a guy that for a lot of the time in the first half, I thought that the Braves are going to turn it around. It just hasn't happened, and they're in enough of a hole right now that I don't think they're going to be a playoff team this year. So it would have to be the Mets, and the Mets have some of the same issues as the Phillies. Very good lineup, but their pitching, their starting pitching, you still have questions about. They're going to get Sean Manaea back, so that's a big addition for them. You feel really good with Edwin Diaz, but maybe they need to add in the bullpen. So like the Phillies, they are an imperfect team, and I think that's really the theme of this year. There's not one Goliath team that is leaps and bounds better than everyone else in the league.
Yeah, I was going to ask you from a macro perspective, because I know you're heavy on the Phillies, but is there a team that you look at and you say, hey, that team's constructed really well? You know, the injuries have not been piling up because, you know, you look at the Dodgers, even though they have the shortest odds to win the World Series, they have $111 million of their payroll on the injury report. Is there a team that stands out to you? Like, if the season ended today, like, who would you think wins the World Series?
Well, I mean, I think the American League is a lot weaker. For the first time in my lifetime, the American League is a lot weaker than the National League. So because of that, the Tigers and the Astros, I think, are in really good situations. But National League-wise, I think if the Cubs are able to add another starting pitcher to what they have right now, and Imanaga and Boyd keep pitching like they have, their lineup is really good. Kyle Tucker, Pete Crow, Armstrong, Seiya Suzuki, I think they're a tough out. The Dodgers are going to be a tough team because we know they're going to add more pitching at the deadline. They're going to get some pitching back. But I get that they won the World Series last year without having impact starting pitching necessarily, but that's rare. And it's just that there is something they need to figure out. For as much as the Dodgers do well, they can't keep having this many pitchers, starters and relievers, every year with major injuries. And some of that, maybe Tyler Glasnow was injury prone before they got him, but a lot of these other guys in their bullpen and their starting rotation, they're having major injuries, and at a certain point, it can't just be a coincidence that this many guys with the Dodgers are on the IL.
Tim, what is a storyline or a team that has surprised you so far this season?
Well, I thought the Padres would take a step back, and they haven't necessarily done that. And like I said, the Braves, I thought, were about as good as any team in baseball. If you made me rank before the season, I thought the Dodgers were the best team and the Braves were probably number 2. So I just did not see this collapse coming from the Braves. Obviously, the Tigers are better than expected. I thought they'd be like a solid team. I did not think they'd be a World Series level team that they have been to this point. So those are really, and obviously the Orioles, very similarly to the Braves, have just, it's become a lost season for them.
I wanted to ask you about Christopher Sanchez not being named an All-Star because we got some really funny quotes from the clubhouse, including I forget who it was saying, "What is this? The Savannah Bananas," when it was Jacob Mizorowski that was, added to the All-Star team. Do you think the team is using this as motivation for the second half of the season?
Yeah, that was Nick Castellanos who said it, who never fails to deliver a colorful quote. It's usually funnier when he's delivering it to another reporter than when he's delivering it to you, but he'll always say something entertaining. Look, I think Christopher Sanchez has been maybe one of the 5 best pitchers in the NL this year, certainly one of the top 10. It didn't help him that he pitched Sunday before the All-Star break, but I thought he should have been picked the first round through in terms of an All-Star and then replaced if he was pitching Sunday. So I don't know if they're using it as motivation. He personally probably is. This is a team with a ton of veterans. They're at the back half of a World Series window. I don't think they need any extra motivation, but if they did, they certainly got it there.
Tim, what was your thought on seeing, Clayton Kershaw added? We saw Mizorowski added, which we were just talking about, and then guys like Ranger Suarez, who could have been All-Stars, but then wasn't an All-Star because he didn't want to pitch. Do you like the way that Major League Baseball is sort of adjusting the All-Star game, or is it way too arbitrary?
Yeah, I don't like it. Independent of who the exact guys are, Clayton Kershaw is a legend, one of the best to ever do it. He is not deserving of being an All-Star this year. Jacob Mizorowski is on the flip end of that. He's somebody that's going to make a bunch of All-Star teams, I think, but making it after 5 starts, in my mind, cheapens it. I'm in the minority. I liked when the All-Star game counted. I want it to matter for something, and I think when it mattered, you were really rewarding the best guys, and players were taking it more seriously. And I do think, as much as it ended up playing out well, the home run swing off was fun, and people will remember this is a cool All-Star game. The selection process to me has become ridiculous in terms of how many players are dropping out and the fact that it's not merit-based necessarily. So I think they need to consider lengthening the All-Star break, giving it more meaning in some way, because if you're going to, at the end of players' career, talk about, oh, this guy was a 7-time All-Star, that has to mean something, and I think it's less and less right now. They're putting in players that are not necessarily the most deserving.